What's poppin', guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Helios 44 lenses.
I'm sitting on this video for way too long now. I think I started to assemble all the shots and all the scenes that you are about to see here in this video 1.5 years ago or something. I don't know exactly. Judging from the file name, I started mid of 2022, so 2 years now. And I've been absent from this channel for quite a time now. Today is the first day of 2025, so what better day to start the whole, or to restart the whole channel. I have some more in the chamber, so I hope that I will finally be able to finish some of the videos, some of the projects that I've been working on over the past few years, because I always started those projects and then just neglected them, and now I finally have the motivation and energy again to tackle the whole YouTube thing. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the Helios 44. Which is a vintage, or is considered a vintage lens, and I am loving this lens. I have some gripes, there are some downsides, and I'm gonna be talking about all of it in a minute, but overall I love the lens. I can't recommend it enough to just go and get one because they are extremely cheap. I think I paid like 30-ish, maybe 50-ish euros. So depending on where you are in the world, it can cost a little bit more or a little bit less, depending on the currency and also from where you buy it. I bought it off of eBay from the UK, so I had to pay some taxes, but it wasn't like huge. I think I have two different ones, and I'm talking about the differences in a minute, but basically I bought one for I think 20, 30, 40-ish euros, and then one for 80 euros. Some of my best shots came from that lens. And there's one thing that I want to disclaim in the beginning. The lens worked for me best on the Pocket 4K. I had a speed booster as well, but on the Pocket 4K the lens worked the best. I think it might be because of the smaller sensor size and the crop. But as soon as I put the lens on my A7IV, because of the full frame, the whole lens gets utilized. And that's where I noticed the flaws of the lens the most. But without any further ado, let's just see what the lens is actually capable of doing.
But what exactly is the Helios lens, and why are people like me buying Helios lenses? The Helios 44 is a so-called vintage lens known for its unique optical characteristics and vintage charm, originally produced in the Soviet Union, specifically by the KMZ and MMZ factories. Never heard of them? Me neither. The Helios 44 lens series includes various models such as the Helios 44-2, Helios 44M, which is the one that I currently own, the Helios 44-3, Helios 44-4, and Helios 44-6.
Quick correction. When I wrote the script to this video, that was basically what I found. I did a little bit more research along the way and found out that there's a little bit more to that, and it's a little bit more complex than that. But basically, according to the Wikipedia page, there's a large number of Helios lenses from the Helios 1 up to the Helios 123, of which the Helios 44 is probably the most famous one. But all that aside, the way more interesting thing to know for me was that there's a significant difference in quality between the earlier Helios 44 models that were built in the KMZ factories in the early 1960s and the later models that were built in Belarus and Valdai. This, by the way, is the logo of the KMZ factory. You should look out for models that have this logo on the inside ring of the front element. In addition to that, I also read that the earlier models had their serial number next to the logo on the inside,
ring of the front element as well. They later transferred the serial number to the lens body, like here on this model. There's a link in the description of a channel called Retro Photo House. He has a buying guide on Helios lenses on his channel, so check out the link in the description if you're interested in that. But now back to the video. The Helios 44 features a 58mm focal length and a maximum aperture of f2, which makes it a very versatile lens for various photography and filmmaking applications. The Helios 44 lenses are known and loved for their swirly bokeh, solid construction, and manual focus capabilities, which allow photographers very precise control over their images. With their distinct vintage aesthetics and exceptional image quality, the Helios 44 lenses continue to be sought after by enthusiasts and professionals alike. I just wanted to mention something real quick. I bought another version of the Helios lens. It's an earlier version, and as I probably already told in the video, if I read this correctly, it's supposed to be one of the earlier KMZ factory produced Helios 44 lenses. What really surprised me was the aperture ring is declicked, so I don't know if that's the case. I mean, in the early versions, if they produced the 44 without hard stops, I don't know, but this one, I mean, it feels a little bit fragile, so maybe someone declicked this already and I have one version that is already altered. But this lens is pretty cool in terms of image quality. I'm gonna be shooting some test footage with it and let you know what the differences are and what I noticed from shooting photos and videos on the A7IV. Let's see what it can, what it can't do, and yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick update. Right now I'm recording with my A7 IV and I have really bad issues with flaring on the A7 IV because it makes the image absolutely soft. And somehow, I don't know why, but this Blackmagic didn't have any problems with flaring.
So to give you a little bit more context and show you what exactly I mean by a soft image and the flaring issue, what exactly that is. You can see when I cover the lens with my hand here, the contrast, the overall contrast of the image comes back. It is light leaking in from the side of the lens into the image, and that lifts up the shadows and makes the image soft and flat. And that is unfortunately unrecoverable in post. So you can't push the contrast slider in your editing program, for example, and artificially boost the contrast, because there is no contrast to begin with. You don't have enough information in your image, and therefore you have a lack of contrast basically. So you can see it here in my hair. The shadows are lifted and the details in the shadows are pretty much gone. And when I cover the lens here with my hand, you can see that the contrast comes back a little. I mean, the lens still is a vintage lens and still has the vintage characteristics, but you have to watch your contrast on site while shooting, because otherwise you won't be able to boost up the contrast slider in post. That doesn't work. So you don't have the information to begin with if you're not watching the contrast while shooting. A little side note, because this is not a vintage lens issue, this is also not a Helios issue. All what I just said can also happen to modern lenses as well. But I noticed it pretty heavily on my Sony A7IV and not so much on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K and 6K. And therefore I just wanted to mention that because I had one shot ruined by the fact that I didn't know about that. Yeah, I didn't take the necessary precautions. For example, a matte box, or for people who don't shoot professionally, probably you get away with just covering the lens with your hand, but the matte box will definitely do the job for you. So it's very safe to say that the Helios 44 is a very special lens with a recognizable look, and it's not your everyday lens that you use on, for example, commercial shoots or something like that, but it's definitely something to experiment with to make an image stand out. So to wrap things up, why a vintage lens in the first place? They are cheap. I would say for beginners especially, they cost a fraction of what a modern lens costs these days. I mean, it depends on the lens, but they're often pretty cheap. And for me personally, one of the main thing why I got into vintage lenses, and especially the Helios, if you are in the industry and you do video or photo work for a period of time, it can get repetitive and you repeat the same tasks and the same setups over and over and over. Having those small pieces of gear that mix it up and that motivates you to go out and shoot something and do something special, something that you haven't done before, it's really worth the investment. But there are also downsides. You don't have autofocus, you don't have any convenient features on these vintage lenses. The lack of autofocus, the lack of contrast, the muted tones, and the lack of sharpness in some vintage lenses, those are characteristics that you don't want to have in a client shoot. So you don't take this on a client shoot where the requirement is to get a very clean commercial look. So they are for special occasions. I maybe used them on 2 projects, but besides that, I only just got out and shot some cool things that I think were cool. It was only for me, and that's my motivation, my reason why I got one. Okay, good. I want to say thank you that you tuned in and watched till the end. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And till then, bye. That's it for now. That's it. That's it for the video. If you have any further press the subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any future video. I'm not really good in those with all the things.